Okay, welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Brandon Toms. I'm the Director of Programs and Operations for Habitat for Humanity Rogue Valley. This is definitely a team effort, and I want to introduce you to some really helpful people in the room that you can turn to at the end of this evening's presentation in case you have a question. Denise James is here. She's our Executive Director. She's a great resource if you have questions after tonight. In the back of the room are our volunteers that make up the Family Services Committee. It's a group of people that are here as volunteers to help us select families, partner with you while you complete the process and build your home and take education classes, and then really celebrate with you at the end when you end up closing and purchasing your Habitat for Humanity home. What is Rogue Valley Habitat for Humanity? We are a nonprofit organization working in collaboration with people in need and our community to build or renovate simple, decent, affordable homes. We were founded in Christian principles, but we welcome people from all faiths and beliefs, and we work together to hopefully eliminate substandard living conditions. Our vision is the elimination of substandard living conditions by providing decent, affordable homeownership to Jackson County residents. We are the only local organization currently that's providing permanent solutions to the housing crisis by offering a hand up, not a handout to homeownership. Our impact is sustainable and will be felt by many generations to come. Our local affiliate was founded in 1987. We've built and sold 81 homes. Three more homes will be sold within the next 60 days. Some of you might have heard we're getting ready to dedicate 2 homes in the Beach Creek subdivision in Ashland, and another home that is at the site where we're going to be building these 12 homes on Grandview in Medford. We're also gearing up to build these 12 homes and 4 more in Ashland on Williamson Way. So that we're really excited about that. And we've pretty much built almost everywhere. Medford, Ashland, Central Point, White City, Rogue River, Eagle Point, Phoenix, and Talon. A couple of things. We don't give away homes. While this is a very unique and rare opportunity, and we like to make it very exciting and show up and surprise you if you're chosen for a home. It's not the prize patrol. We're not going to be giving away the home. It's something that you will get a mortgage for and purchase with a very, very affordable, no interest mortgage when we get to the end. So trust me, it's a great thing. We are currently selecting up to 8 partner families for this East Medford project, and the site will be fully developed by Habitat for Humanity. There are flags on the site and hopefully equipment rolling into the site within the next week or 2. We're having to put in all the infrastructure, all the water lines, sewer lines, streets, sidewalks. So we definitely have a big project. This is not an overnight process. Not only do we have to develop the land, but then we have to get you through your sweat equity hours and your education and build the home together. Typically from the moment, this process today, we'll talk about the timeline for this process at the very end. But typically once you're finally selected for the program to the moment you close on your house, could be anywhere from a year to 2 years. If you're unhoused right now, this is not a quick solution for your housing needs. We do not build elaborate or custom homes. For this build, they're going to be 2-story. They're going to be 0 lot line, which some people call duplex style. And they're going to be in sets of 2. So this first set of build will have 4 sets of 2. We do not discriminate on family size, race, religion, any of that stuff. We're pretty transparent about the qualifications for the program. There is some specific qualifications that we must follow. One has to do with legal residency. At least one applicant and it needs to be the applicant with the qualifying income must legally reside in the United States. They can be here on permanent residency or a United States citizen, but at least one applicant must be that, and they must be the applicant that has the qualifying income. If you are not selected at this time, I would recommend not counting yourself out. The hard part of this process is we just take a snapshot of the one specific period in time. Maybe this isn't the right period in time for you. We build houses all the time, so please don't count yourself out this time if your situation changes, and maybe you might qualify next time. Also, if you're selected, please know that you're not expected to do any of this on your own. You just saw half of the family services team, the other half will be here tomorrow. Raise their hand. You get partnered with one of them directly, just for your family, to help you navigate that process moving forward and making sure you have all your questions answered, someone in your corner, really that you're supported throughout the whole process. So there's 3 aspects to criteria for this program. The first aspect is the ability to pay. I told you a moment ago that we don't give away homes. So at the end of this process, once your home is complete, we provide you with an affordable mortgage. It has a 0 interest equivalence, and it's for 30 years. So for 30 years, you make a very affordable mortgage payment. The monthly mortgage payment that you pay to us is only going to pay us back for the cost of construction. We're not here to make any money off of anyone, just for the cost to build that home. And that mortgage payment is no more than 30% of your gross monthly income. So that's 30% of what you make every month before taxes. The typical Habitat mortgage that includes principal and interest. Insurance, I'm sorry, thank you for catching that, we don't charge interest, is anywhere between $650 and $1,000 a month. For a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, it's a pretty good deal. In order to qualify with ability to pay, you need to have a gross, before tax, monthly household income between the program minimum and maximum, and that's on the front cover page of your application. Household means everyone receiving income that lives in the home, not just the applicant themselves. If you have a child that lives in the home that's 20 years old, that has no plans to move out, that they're going to be moving with you to this new housing opportunity, and they receive income, their income counts as a member of your household. If you receive Social Security for a disabled child, that income counts as income to your household. Another aspect of this process is that we have to be careful whether or not you have any liens or judgments or collections. And the reason why is because if we sell you a home and you have outstanding liens and judgments and collections, they will immediately be notified that you now have this asset, you now have this house in your name, and they will attach that home. And the last thing we want to do is start this process with a problem. So it's important that those are taken care of before someone is accepted into the program. Sometimes, people when they come to us, especially right now, they say, I may have this collection, but I know I'm getting XYZ tax return and I plan to pay them off. I caution you to not exclude yourself. If that's your situation, still apply, but there's going to be a lot of places where you can explain things to us so that we can know what's going on. So don't let that be a barrier, but I need to tell you about it. But please know that if you already have a plan for it, let's talk about it. No unpaid liens or judgments, and no bankruptcy within the last 2 years. You also can't own any other property. So if you already have a house, or a house in your name, hopefully you can provide a really good reason why that's not the house you're living in. But if it's just that you have another house and you'd like a new one, and I know it sounds funny, but maybe there's a reason why you can't live in that other one. But our rule is that you can't currently own any property, and you have not owned property for at least 3 years before you can qualify for our program. Owning a trailer in a park, not on its own land, does not count as being a home, as currently owning real property. But if you have that situation, we'll talk one-off if you're qualified for the program about what we expect you to do with that mobile home in a park if you're accepted into the program. Are you doing okay, Lucy? Thanks. So the second is a need for housing. You must currently be experiencing a hardship related to your current housing situation. So you have to have a need for our program. Most times, that need is living in a substandard condition. Maybe you have no heat. Maybe every time you turn on the microwave, the breaker pops off, and sometimes it sparks, and it's really unsafe, or mold all over in the bathroom, or a floor that's caving in, substandard conditions like that. Maybe you're living somewhere temporarily. You're couch surfing, you're unhoused, you're living with friends and family. Maybe you're sheltered. This one here is probably the most common one, overburdened by rent. We say that in order to be in a safe and stable housing, an affordable housing situation, your monthly rent payment or mortgage payment should be less than 30% of your gross monthly income. If you're paying over 50% of your gross monthly income for your housing and living expense, you're overburdened. So that is a qualification as well. Another one is overcrowding. So maybe your current living situation, we've seen families of 6 in a 1-bedroom unit. That's absolutely overcrowded. No one should be having to live in the living room, and we expect to see no more than 2 people per bedroom. So you have an ability to pay, you have a need for housing, and I think arguably one of the most important aspects of our program and selection, that you have a willingness to partner, that you're willing to be fully involved and committed to our process and our housing program. Each household, and this depends on how many adults are in your household, but you may be required to invest up to 500 hours of sweat equity by helping us construct your home, helping us at volunteer events, helping us in the restore, helping us advocate, maybe sharing your story at a fundraiser, empowering others, doing talks to groups, attending those community events and fundraisers, and completing the homeowner education curriculum. We have a class usually once every couple of weeks. It's in the evening, and you learn things like how to be a good neighbor, what is code enforcement, how does homeowners insurance work, how is home maintenance, how do I manage my credit, really basic stuff that's important to make you successful as you transition into a life of homeownership, because the buck stops with you once you get to that homeowner level. So this is probably my most favorite aspect of the approval process, because this is really where people feel involved and engaged and empowered and learn really cool things. Like, you're gonna know all types of tools, and you're gonna know what 8-penny nails are, and you're gonna know how to swing a hammer and how to use power tools. So it's really empowering and exciting. So how does this all work? We find partner families that are low-income families in need of housing, and they're selected to purchase Habitat homes and work alongside our volunteers to build those homes, to complete up to 500 hours of sweat equity and the education curriculum. That's all of you. And then we go and we find volunteers, just like the family services people in the back. We have construction volunteers that are on our bill settings multiple times a week. They're caring and supportive community members that gift their time to our mission by helping us build, by volunteering on committees, working in our restore. Their work keeps the cost down so that we can provide affordable homeownership to families interested. Then we look for donors and community, because as much as we hate it, this does take money. And we take businesses, faith groups, civic groups, foundations, individuals, all those people generously provide financial support to our organization by giving money or donating services and discounts so we can build affordable homes. And last, but absolutely not least, the staff. We have a very small but mighty staff that keep the wheels rolling. We have fundraising, we plan events, find volunteers, support community needs and other aspects. We have a repair program. We do all the stuff that isn't very glamorous, that no one really wants to do, but we probably have the best jobs in the world, and we're happy to be able to help people achieve their home ownership dreams. All right, so now we're gonna pull out the application and we're gonna go through it page by page so we can make sure you know everything you need to know. So on the cover page, also just to clarify one thing, these applications are only available in English. We are not able, for legal reasons, to translate them into Spanish because it would impact translating the entire program and mortgage documents, and we just do not have the capacity to do that. But please know, we have Spanish-speaking resources that can help you complete this process. So on the front, this is an application just specifically for this build on Grandview in Medford. 2-story, 3-bedroom homes. You can ask me what they're gonna look like. I'd like to know too. This applicant for the special application opportunity must have a total gross annual household income above the minimum and below the maximum for the corresponding household size. So if you have 7 people in your household, you need to make at least $43,560 and less than $87,150. We already talked about that someone must legally one of the applicants, the primary applicant, must legally reside in the United States as a citizen or permanent resident. That individual must also be the one with the qualifying income. You must not have owned real property within the last 3 years. Again, a manufactured home where you're renting space in a park does not count. This is a big one. You must currently reside in Jackson County, and you must have done so for the last 12 months. The thought behind that is not that we don't like our partners in Josephine County or Siskiyou County, but we raise money and build in Jackson County, so we need to be helping our local constituents. This back side of that page is probably the most important thing that everyone consistently forgets. This is the reason why none of you will be turning in this application tonight, because there's no way it can be complete. So, your step 1 is to completely fill out this application to the best of your knowledge and abilities. If you come across a section and you feel like there is a story behind the information you wrote down that we need to know, please attach a separate sheet of paper. Section 2B, I need to tell you XYZ. So we have a full and transparent picture of what we're looking at. I would hate for us to accidentally decline someone's application just because we weren't aware of something we needed to know. Also, we're going to ask you for some documents to be returned with this application. I say this so many times, and it's on this page of paper 3 different times. Please do not bring me original documents. You are not going to get this back. please give us photocopies. Along with your complete application, we're going to need photocopies of the following documents. 2 years of your tax returns. I need your 1040s, so that cover page that's just like the general, and any schedules, A, B, C, D, E, F, and any like earned income credit, childcare, any of those schedules in the back. I need copies of those for the last 2 years. If you have already filed your 2024s, that's great. If you have 2023 and 2022, we'll go with that until we get to a point where I need to get updated copies from you. I need pay stubs. I need pay stubs for the last 3 months for each applicant. I also need pay stubs for anyone else in your household that is contributing income, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I need Social Security, pension, or retirement award letters. I cannot just see that you receive a deposit from Social Security on your bank statement. I need an actual award letter that says Brandon Toms gets $1,358 a month for the year 2024. 2025. I need to see bank statements for the last 2 months. If you have more than one bank, I need each of them. You'll see a note on here that you can't just print out online, and they need to clarify that for you. You can download your statement and print it out from your online banking. What I cannot accept is just a ledger printout. What you see kind of when you log on, it doesn't have your account number or your name or anything like that. I need an actual statement. And lastly, I need a copy of a valid identification or driver's license for each applicant in the application. And then again, you'll see, please do not submit original documents with this application. You will not get them back. These are available now. They're available printed outside here and over at the Restore. You can download and print them from our website if you need another copy. These are due back to us by 4 p.m. on Friday, February 28th. We will refuse an incomplete application. If you try to just slip this into us, ask me again. If you try to slip this into us without any of the supporting documentation, we'll ask you to take it back with you and bring it back complete, okay? If you're going through this process of completing the application at home and you have questions, all of my contact information is listed on the bottom. So you can reach out to me and I'm happy to answer your question. Next page is the authorization and release. This just says that you allow us to verify the information that you've provided in your application. Like maybe we might need to verify employment. Maybe we might need to verify landlord information. We will be pulling a credit report if you get to that level of the approval process. This just allows us to do that. I am not ignorant to the fact that some of you have sensitive employment and living situations. I will not call any of your landlords or employers without first talking to you. So please know that's not going to happen, okay? So that first page, the applicant fills it out. If there's a co-applicant, the co-applicant will also sign and fill that out. So now we get to page 1. This just says, dear applicant, this is for the housing opportunity you're choosing to apply for. You're going to give us your name, your social security number, your date of birth, your driver's license information, your phone number. You're going to let us know if you're married, if you're separated, if you're divorced, or if you're unmarried. If you are separated, it is likely going to cause you an issue with becoming approved for our homeownership program. If you are married, I should see your spouse as a co-applicant on the application with you. If you are divorced, we will ask for a copy of a divorce decree. Next, we'll ask for your residency status. Are you a citizen, permanent resident, or temporary resident? If you move on to the final selection phase, we'll ask you to verify that. We'll get a copy of your card or your birth certificate. Are you employed? Are you a veteran? Are you a student? There's information for the applicant and the co-applicant. I want to be very clear. Co-applicant means you are buying a house together. That's a 30-year commitment. So, sometimes people get divorced and you're happy, puppy love right now, but just so you know, this is purchasing a home together. So if you and your homegirl are applying together, you're also going to be investors together. Okay, so if you have an applicant, if you're the applicant, section 1, if you have a co-applicant, section 1B. Section 1C is for your mailing address. If you have a PO box or something different than your physical address, it will go there. Section 1D is your home phone number and your email address, or your primary contact number. Some of you, and I know it won't be surprised, don't have good handwriting. Please work really hard to make sure I can read what you're putting on these applications. If I can't, we might not be able to reach you. So use your best penmanship. If you need a translator or you're using a translator, we ask you to identify the person helping you with translation so we can also reach out to them throughout the process. At the bottom, you're going to list, it says right there, people who currently live with you and who will live in the new Habitat home with you if you are approved. If you have a 20-year-old kid who's at home, who's starting off on a great foot, and he's got a job, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's not coming to the new house with you, you don't need to put them as a member of the household. If you do have a student or a 22-year-old son, or you're taking care of a grandchild, and they are a permanent resident of your household, please list them at the bottom. If they're already an applicant at the top, you don't need to relist as a member of the household. You're going to list what their relationship is to you. I don't care if you identify gender or not, that's not important for me. We just use it for bedroom, house size. Age, date of birth, and then we need to know, is that person employed, student, disabled, what other information is available about those household members. On the next page, we want to know about your current housing. We ask you for your address again, just in case you had a mailing address on the front, so we'll ask you what your physical address is. How long have you been there? Do you own it or do you rent it? What's your rent payment? Who's your landlord? If you've been there less than 2 years, we're going to ask you to do your previous housing information right below that in section 2B. This may seem like a weird question, but it says, does the co-applicant live at a different address? Sometimes families are broken up for reasons, multitude of reasons, and we just need to know if people are living separately but going to come together in the new house. Also, some people ask about shared custody. If you have your child less than 50% of the time, I would note it on your application what percentage of the time you have that individual in the household. Are you receiving any housing support? Like maybe you have a Section 8 voucher. What agency is providing you that support? How much is it? And what is their contact information? Tell us a little bit about your utilities, your water, your gas, your garbage. And then we want to know what your housing currently is. Is it a house, duplex, apartment? How many bedrooms does it have? And then on the bottom in 2F, this is where you're probably going to need another piece of paper. Describe in detail your current housing situation and why you need a Habitat home. This is a great opportunity for you to really connect all the dots for us and tell us about your housing situation and why this is a great solution for you and your household. Next, we're going to get to employment information, and we're going to start at your most current, so where you're working now. If you're retired, you can just put retired. Put your monthly income when you were retired. If this is for 2 years, so if you had the same job for the last 5 years, you're just going to put that current employer. If you had 2 jobs in the last 2 years, you'll give a previous employer. If you had any weird gaps in your employment on section 3B, tell us why. I was unemployed for a year because I was taking care of my grandmother or something like that. Just again, connect the dots and paint the picture for us. If you have a co-applicant on the front, someone you're buying your house with, we want to know about their employment information as well. We'll get any of their previous employers and we'll ask them about gaps in their employment. Now we get to income. It's very important that you're honest about your income and the members of your household that receive income. This is one of the only ways people trip up in our program is when we find out they were being dishonest. There's enough interaction and times that we check information throughout this process that we'll probably will find out about it eventually, so it's important to just let us know up front. We would like to know what the applicant and co-applicant income is monthly before taxes. What type of income is it? Is it alimony? Is it employment? Is it disability? Is it Social Security? Please let us know. And remember, we need verification of this information. It says we must provide documentation for all sources of income. If you are a business owner, I need 2 years of your tax returns. I will also need a current year profit and loss. If you're a business owner, I hope you know what that means. But if you're a business owner, 2 years taxes and current profit and loss. Again, award letters, divorce decree if you're claiming alimony as part of your household income, all that good stuff. And then at the bottom, anyone else in your household receiving income, who are they? My daughter receives Social Security disability. Her age is 5, and the monthly amount is that. So please make sure that you disclose household income there on the bottom. At the top of the next page is a question and answer, and you're just going to circle 1 for each line. Do you have any debt because of a court decision? Have you been foreclosed on? Are you in a lawsuit? Are you behind on child support? Answer yes or no. If you answer yes to any of these questions, please know that that does not disqualify you from our program. It does not mean your application is declined. It just means you're going to need to connect the dots. You're going to need to add a piece of paper and tell us, I marked yes because I'm $1,000 behind on my child support, but that's going to get taken care of with my tax return. Again, just paint the picture. Then we want to know about your assets. We want to know, do you have bank accounts? How much do you have in them? And then you're going to certify that you have less than $25,000 in total net assets, not including retirement accounts. What that means is, I don't care about your 401k or your 403b or your Roth IRA that you have been saving money in. What I do need to know about is, do you have other investments? Do you have savings accounts? Do you have savings bonds? Do you own a diesel pusher motorhome that's worth $150,000? I really need to know about that. Do you own a trailer full of ATVs? We need to know about that, and if you do, please just list them on a separate sheet of paper. Next is deposit funds. Habitat for Humanity uses a state of Oregon program called the IDA account. It stands for Individual Development Account. That is a state-sponsored program that's designed to help low-income families build wealth. one of the things you can use that account for is to buy a house. The way it works is if you save money, they will match the money once you meet your goal 5 times. We ask you in your IDA account to save $1,200. That means when you go to buy your Habitat home, the state will contribute an additional $6,000 towards paying all of your prepaids and closing costs. This is a program that's available to the public. We are awarded this program to privately offer to our program participants. We don't offer this IDA program to the community just for our partner families. It's an incredible program. We just need to know, are you willing to do that? Have you ever had an IDA account before? Some people have had them in our program even. Maybe they have them for business or to go back to school. We just need to know. Next, we need to know if you're willing to partner with us. Are you willing to roll up your sleeves, to make this process a priority, to rearrange schedules and work late nights, and to help get your sweat equity requirement completed? We're also going to ask that you certify that you know this will be expected to be your primary residence. And we want to know if you've done any other programs. Did you go to Access and take the Realizing the American Dream HUD home buying class? Did you work with Dev Northwest to do some of their homeowner preparedness stuff? Let us know. Build your case why you're ready for Habitat to be the success that you're looking for in homeownership. So please share with us if you've completed any of those programs. Next, on section 8, we ask if you've been to any orientations before. You guys are going to get the opportunity of saying yes, because you were here tonight. Thank you for being with us. Number 9 is other assistance. This is an opportunity to let us know if there's something we need to keep in mind throughout this process to ensure that we build a home that's going to be adequate for you and your family's needs. I would tell you that this is not something that will get you declined for the program, but what it is something is the beginning of having important conversations about whether or not we can build what you need. If you have a child with cerebral palsy that's in a wheelchair, we need to talk about the 2-story house that I'm going to be building and whether or not it's going to be viable for the needs of your family. But if I know that you have someone in the home that is deaf, we can discuss whether or not through the planning process we need to put alerts or lights or something that can help make your home safe and adequate for what you need. Let us know. Next, we ask you for references, and we ask you for 2 groups of references. The first group on 10B is who can support you? Who can you count on to be there to help you get your sweat equity? Who from your friends and family that can help you throughout that process? That's gonna help you get those hours in, because it's a lot of hours. Second, we're gonna ask you for professional references. If you do not have references to put here, don't worry about it. I challenge you to think really hard about people that you can count on, but it's not gonna disqualify you if you can't. You don't have all 3 to put down. Professional references, maybe a coworker, I don't know, someone that you trust, maybe a church family member, something like that. Someone that can vouch for you committing to the process and completing it successfully. On the next page, you're going to sign that you understand our privacy policy. It says we're not going to share or sell your information, that we're going to keep it on file here because we're required in case we're ever audited. You're not going to get your documents back that you submit to us throughout this process. On the bottom, section 11, this is something that's been in our application for a long, long time, and it's obviously become more of a hot button issue lately. But we're going to ask you for some information about you and your co-applicant. You absolutely 110% are not required to complete this information under section 11. If you do not tell me your ethnicity, your race, your origin, or your gender, I don't care. The reason why this is there is so that if we are ever audited, the auditing agency can tell that I didn't find every application for a white lady and decline them automatically. This is just a way for us to prove transparency, that we are clear and fair with everyone. But you don't have to fill it out if you don't want to, and I completely understand if you don't. The last thing you're going to do, and everyone forgets this, by the way, you're going to sign on the back a signature of authenticity. So if you ever win the lottery, I can sell this page that you signed. But it just says that you know, oh, someone's getting their car broken into. If you need to check, something's got an alarm going on. That says that you know that you have to give us information that is honest and true, and that we're going to verify it, and that if you're not, you understand it could impact you in the program. Could you tell us what kind of car it is?
It's the one, it's right in front, in the second row. It's against, whoever has a car, it's against the road.
We either got it turned off or somebody took the battery out of your car. Okay, so there's a signature of authenticity. And then what is the, I think we have a slide for this. I already introduced you to the Family Services Committee. They are here to review applications, to conduct evaluations, to make recommendations, and to be your advocate, to be your best friend, to be your worst enemy, to be your coach, to be your inspiration, so that you can get through this process as seamlessly as possible and reach the pot of gold at the end of this process. So they're incredible volunteers, and we are lucky to have them. So what's next? Your completed applications are due here to us by February 28th at 4 p.m. When we get all the applications, we review them for whether or not they're complete. By March 14th, you're going to get one of 3 letters from us in the mail. The first one may be a decline. It may let you know that you do not currently qualify for the program. If for some reason, and we'll tell you the reason you were declined, you have a question about that, I totally understand. Please call and we'll talk about the reason why. You may also get an incomplete. Maybe I don't understand something going on. Maybe you missed a pay stub. Maybe I might have some questions about your co-applicant. You'll get a letter of incomplete which says you have 15 calendar days to give me the information I need or to connect so we can talk. The third letter you may receive is that step 1 is complete. So that we got your whole application, we got all your information, and so far so good. After that, we'll pull your credit report. We'll double check to make sure you have the ability to pay. We'll again check your household income, that it's not over the maximum and below the minimum. And then for those moving on to the next section, we complete site visits. This is not to be intrusive. This is not to judge. This is just our way of verifying, is the information you provided in your application correct? Do you really live somewhere that's substandard? Is your neighborhood unsafe? Is the information, are you living in a 6-bedroom house instead of the 1-bedroom house you told us on the application? That's the kind of stuff we double check in the site visit. It'll be at least 2, possibly 3 members of our volunteer committee coming to your home to meet with you and your family and verify the information. Once that process is complete and we've done your site visit, then the final step, and you'll see that on that very back page, is a partnership interview. And it's a time that you come in and you meet with some of our volunteers and our board members. And we ask you about the program and if you can make it work and why you're excited and why you need the program. And then from there, the Family Services Committee makes a recommendation to our board of directors and we accept people into our program. And then we do another one of these orientation meetings and we talk about a whole bunch more information. But please know that I am not ignorant to the fact that this is a huge investment of your time to apply for our program, and that you are giving us a lot of sensitive and vulnerable information, and that we keep it private and we keep it safe, and that we are here to make as many of you successfully qualified for our program as possible, and we're here to help in whatever way we can. So thank you for completing this first step and coming to join us tonight. And hopefully you learned something and hopefully you got a lot of questions answered. I know I probably didn't touch on everything and we'll do questions in a minute, but please don't forget to photocopy your documents, get it turned in by the 28th, and reach out if you have questions. Okay, speaking of questions. Remember, let's take personal questions one off. But if you have a question for the group, fire away. Right here.
I was wondering if you had a child that was under 18 that was working. My kid wants to start working already and she's gonna be 14. Does that count as income?
So it does count as income,
Okay.
but if she wants to do it, I don't think that it's something you need to worry about until she's actually doing it. What does that mean?
So just repeat the question so everybody.
Oh, good idea. She said, what if I have a young child who wants to start working that's not an adult that has income? Is that considered household income? Yes, it's considered household income. Luckily, most of the time when there's a minor receiving income, it's a very minimal amount. If that is the amount of money that puts you over the top, please, let's talk about it. Okay? Yeah.
What if you are, because I'm on a bunch of waiting lists for other housing.
What if you're what?
What if I'm on a different waiting list for other housing and I get into another house that I'm not in that one that's, got mold or whatever?
Sure. So her question was, what if I'm on a waiting list for other housing? And that's kind of why I said in the beginning that this is really a point in time kind of thing, unfortunately. If we get all the way through the process and your housing has changed and you no longer have a need for housing, even if that need might just be achieving home ownership when you get that far in the process, I think that's something we'll be considerate of. Also, after you're in the program, it is not uncommon for our families to move. I mean, it's just a way of life with the housing situation right now that you have to move. And we understand that, and it's not a surprise to us nor an issue. Okay? Yeah.
The 500 hours sweat equity, is that for adults in the household or is that total for the household?
Yeah. So his question is, how does $500 of sweat equity work? Here's how it works. We require 200 hours of sweat equity for every adult applicant for the program. So if we're applying together, you got 200, I got 200. From our 200 hours, 100 is required to be on construction, and the other 100 can be anywhere you want. Each household is required to recruit friends and family for the remaining 100. So if you're single and you're applying by yourself, you have your 200 hours plus 100 from friends and family. So a single parent household is 300 hours. If you're a two-parent, two-applicant household, it's 500. 200 from each adult and 100 from friends and family. Clear as mud? Don't worry, we'll go over it many more times if you're accepted. Yes?
In place of professional references, can we include more family members?
Absolutely. So the question was, in place of professional references, can we include more family? Anyone that's going to be able to vouch for you being able to have success in this program, commit to our requirements, and willing to help you throughout the process. Yeah.
The Section 6, the deposit funds, $1,200, is that per adult or is that total for the household?
His question was, how is the $1,200 calculated? It's total for the household, and you save that money throughout your time in the program. So we set a budget for you with IDA, and most families put $100 a month in their IDA account. So it's not something where you have to walk in and prove you have $1,200 if you're accepted.
I've got a few different questions. The first one is there a rate of speed at which we need to complete said sweat equity hours?
Is there a timeline with which you need to complete your sweat equity hours? Hopefully you're done before the time we finish your house. And your partner, your family partner, will make sure you are crystal clear about what the expectation is for completing your sweat equity.
My next question is, will your mortgage payment be adjusted if your income adjusts?
Great question. So remember where I said your mortgage payment will be 30% of your gross monthly income? And he said, will it adjust? The answer is no. I think it's more of an added value for the reason why is the goal of putting you at a 30% housing payment is so you can do other things to better your life. So that housing doesn't have to be a barrier or a factor in what goes on in your household. So we expect you to go and make more money. And that's totally okay. And hopefully you remember as you complete the process that how useful this 30% capped payment is, and it will not change. It will go up a little bit because taxes go up, your house is worth more in value, your insurance goes up, and so your payment will go up slightly. Yeah.
My next question is inconsistent forms of income, like turning in cans and bottles, things like that. Do those count as forms of income as well?
Great. So this question is, do you have inconsistent forms of income that count? They do not. So anything that's verified and reported to the IRS.
My last question is, do class actions count as lawsuits in that section?
This question was, do class action lawsuits count on that questionnaire section? I think yes, it's a lawsuit, but a perfect opportunity for you to attach a piece of paper and explain it to us. I'm gonna go in the back.
I have two questions. Will Habitat for Humanity be on the title of the home?
So her question is, will Habitat for Humanity be on the title to the home? I'm not sure why you're asking that question, but what I'm going to tell you is we won't be on the title, but we are the lender, so we will have an interest in the property. Does that answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then my second question is, if there's an emergency and maybe if let's say that I get selected for a home, there's an emergency, I have to move and I have to sell the home, how does that work?
Yeah, so her question is, if I ever have to sell my Habitat for Humanity home, how does that work? That's a whole big, long answer. But you can, you're not stuck. But here's the deal. I am not able to just take a home and build it from the ground up and not charge you interest and sell it to you with no caveats to how long you need to be in the home. So what I'm trying to say is that the longer you're in the home, the more equity you earn in this process. If you sell the home before 5 years, you walk away having a very affordable rent payment on your home for the first 5 years. Starting year 6, you begin to earn an equity share. Again, it's a whole long process, but there are things put in place to make sure you don't turn around and flip the house the day I sell it to you and cash out on the equity and move on. They're not unfair things that are put in place, but things to put in place to keep you in the home for the longevity. If that is really important to you to understand that thoroughly before you even apply for the program, which if you're selected for the program, we will discuss that in detail in your orientation before you sign on to the program. But if that's really important that you understand that process, please reach out to me and we can have a lengthy conversation about exactly how that sales process and that ownership structure works. Yeah,
So, say we get selected and we live there till old and gray, what have you, our kids are off in college. And we want to go and explore and live life. Are we allowed to rent the house?
so the question is, after I've gotten gray and I want to go explore, can I rent my Habitat house? During the time that Habitat has an interest in your home, which is 30 years, you may not rent your home. It is required that that be your primary residence. After Habitat is paid off and 30 years down the road, these homes for this project, there are other long-term projects we do that have different requirements. These homes are yours to do with what you wish. Yeah.
Can you pay off the house earlier than 30 years?
Great question. His question is, can I pay off the house early? If any of you pay off your house early, we are going to have a very big discussion about what a not smart move that is. And I say that because we are giving you a loan at 0% interest. Instead of paying us off early, invest your money somewhere that's going to pay you interest and use our money for free. That's my only caveat with that. Go ahead.
Well, say what, like you win the lottery or come to some money, you want to pay it off.
Yeah, you can. You can. The equity share is still in effect until year 30. So we would have to talk about what level of equity share you have. But again, I would counsel you that there may be better things you can do than paying us off. Yeah.
Does a HUD voucher, like the FSS program, I'm in that, and I wasn't sure if that money could be used for part of like the 1,200.
So her question was, there are some other family self-sufficiency programs, a lot of them sponsored through the Housing Authority, that have ways of saving for down payment and things like that. Yes, we've had families do that before. So maybe just put a little note on there and we'll talk about it one-off about how that might work. Yes.
So what if you are a single father of a bunch of kids and aren't able to do the sweat activity? Because we work full-time.
Yeah, so the question is, what if you're a single father with a bunch of kids and you can't do sweat equity? Sweat equity is non-negotiable. It's an important part of the program. But please know, we make every effort to have concessions and accommodate your schedule and your needs. I wouldn't leave that as a reason to not invest in the program. Yes.
If someone has health concerns and don't know the longevity of life, can children be put as a beneficiary so they continue to pay on the home when someone passes?
Good question. So the question is, how does it work with a beneficiary should something happen to the homeowner or the applicant? In our documents, these loans are not assumable. And what that means is no one, even your children, can't just take over and make your payments for you. But what they can do is have an opportunity to purchase the home at just what you owe. So not including that equity share. We don't have to be involved in the resale process, because if you wanted to sell it on the open market, we get an opportunity to buy it first. We waive that with heirs should the homeowners pass away, and give the children an opportunity to purchase it for the balance owed, which is totally the normal way mortgages work out in the real world. Yes.
Are you allowed to do the sweat equity of the 100 hours if you don't have anyone to do it?
Absolutely. So the question was, can I just do all 300 or 500 hours? You bet. And that's super common. Yes.
Can children join in with sweat?
Good question. You guys ask really good questions. So the question is, can children help with sweat equity? And the answer is no. If they are under 18, they cannot be on the job site. They cannot do construction. If they are under, I think it's 16, but it may be 14, we'll talk about that, they can volunteer in the restore. Anyone younger than 14 I really just for liability reasons don't have an opportunity for them to do sweat equity. But we do things to keep them involved in the process. These homes will be restricted for 30 years, meaning that only low-income families can purchase these homes for 30 years. It really doesn't, that's probably confusing to you, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's not gonna affect you at all. It's just gonna limit the equity that you have available, which we already do anyway, so, yes.
I have one more question. So say down the line, I meet someone and I get married and they have kids and if we made over income, would we lose that house?
Don't do it. I'm just kidding. So her question was, if I meet somebody down the line and we want to get married and add someone else into the household, do I lose that?
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
What if your income was, is
We
it
don't-
just for eligibility?
We don't look at your income again the moment you buy your house. Yeah. So the question is the 30% of my income for the payment when I apply for the home or when I close on the home? And the technical answer is both. And the reason why is because I have to make sure today that you meet the minimum and you're not over the maximum. I have to recertify that when you close on your home that you're still of need and not receiving too much money. So it's a little of both. Yes.
What's the rule on pets? That should be anything in there.
Great question. What's the rule on pets? The rule is whatever is required by the CC&Rs. I don't know which are the restrictions and covenants of the property. So a housing development will have some rules put into it. Not exactly an HOA, but some specific requirements of the neighborhood. It may have pets in there, I don't know it specifically, but then above CC&Rs are city codes. City codes, believe it or not, have restrictions of how many animals, including dogs and cats, that you can have in a home or on a property, as well as the types of animals you can have on a city property. So we discussed that in class, and we'll go over that, but yes, there may be restrictions on pets. Gerbils, I don't think we care about, but the other ones, yes. I'm gonna cut it here for questions. Please know that our volunteers are available. If you received an earpiece from us, please make sure we get that back before you leave. We thank you for coming tonight. We hope you drive safe, and if you have any questions, please let us know.